This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
A left-handed pitcher from Kansas, Stone Hewlett, is going to be transferring to Arkansas. He's been a relief pitcher for 3 years and a .468 earned run average over 28 appearances last year. And I think he's the first pitcher that Arkansas gets out of the transfer portal. We've got Dudley Dawson with us from Hogville.net. Chances are Dudley might have known about this. I'm not sure, but Dudley, it's now this is clockwork now. Once the football season's over, you can get a bunch of transfers coming in. Same with basketball, same with baseball, and so goes the world of college sports.
Absolutely. While not busy at the College World Series, they've been busy recruiting, and it's kind of interesting now. It's kind of becoming Kansas is kind of like a minor league farm team for Arkansas with all these people that have, at least played there a little bit and ended up here. Stone Hewlett, as you said, is the latest guy, a left-handed pitcher. Interesting, like you said, interesting story. Guy's only thrown in relief. I'm sure that will be his role here. Fifth one they've gotten in the last 8 days or so, and certainly getting work done as the Major League Baseball draft continues to get closer.
You spoke with Ty Wilmsmeyer, who just transferred in from Missouri. This is one of the guys that they'd played against, but he'd never played at Baum. He was a two-way guy at Mizzou. I guess I'd be surprised if he pitches at Arkansas, but this is a good bet. This is the center fielder, or do you think he might move around a little bit?
Well, when we talked yesterday, he thought that's probably where he'd end up because he said he's not a power guy. He's more of a skills guy, get on base, set the table. But it is, another veteran pickup. He, as you said, has never played here before, played in all the other 13 stadiums. He's very excited. And really all these kids that I've talked to, and I've said this many a time, I hope they're all great baseball players, but the fact of the matter is, for me, if they're great talkers and great interviews, that's what I like with coming here. So,
and Dudley, what's so different about baseball recruiting, and how has the NIL changed? Where you get full scholarships for basketball, full scholarships for football, and then half scholarship or a percentage of a scholarship in baseball. But now with the NIL, is it kind of able to translate into where these guys are all on full scholarships?
No, I don't think it's anywhere close to that. They're working to getting toward that, and there are very many schools, as some Phil has gone over before on the show, that, are closer to full scholarships with the way they go about things that, they don't have to disclose to the tax man, although I think that's about to come rear its ugly head, with some recent developments in the NIL. It's still a sport you play in college because you love it, not because you're going to get rich off of it or not because you're going to make as much money as anybody on campus. 11.7 scholarships to divide between 30-plus people has always irritated me. I know that's just how things are. The shortage of assistants, the different ways they go about things has always pissed me off, I guess would be the right way to say it. But, again, it's my favorite sport. I love baseball. Even though I'm not in Omaha this year, I'm enjoying sitting around and watching all these one-run games and exciting plays and very, very many camera angles to tell us whether somebody is out or safe.
What did they say? Yes, because they had a ball hit the top of one of those cameras. What did they say? Like 58 cameras or something all around the field?
Yes.
That's why that ballpark is built the way it's built. ESPN, I think, had a hand in how that ballpark was built because they knew they were going to be televising every single game inside of there. And then yesterday, I saw you tweet about this. Charlie Baker, the new NCAA president, was on the telecast last night. He'd never been to Omaha in his entire life. I'm not sure if he knows much about baseball, but he doesn't have to. He's got to be a good politician in this case. And he was the governor of Massachusetts for a long time, a Republican in a blue state. So I think he can find some middle ground. The thing that I really took from that interview is I like what he was talking about with NIL, and specifically the idea of a national clearinghouse for all the student athletes, coaches, whatever you call an agent for these kids to, can find out who's getting what for what effort, and to have standardized contracts throughout this, and basically throw some sunshine on name, image, and likeness, because that's the biggest complaint. There's no sunshine on it. There's nothing that's standard about this. And that's really what I took away from his talk, and I hope that what he was talking about actually comes to fruition.
Yeah, I absolutely was enthralled listening to him talk, and that's not usually the way I am with politicians because I can see through them on both sides. But just I was fascinated by it. He has a lot of great ideas. The proof will always be in the actions, as I tweeted. But I just loved hearing him talk about little things like uncles. I have, over the course of 37 years now, covered a lot of recruiting and dealt with so many uncles who were not really uncles by birth. They were people that had their hands out, were enablers. That has, filtered itself in college athletics throughout my time covering things, and has gotten even shadier is not the right word, but even more open now, and people just asking for money with NIL. He made a lot of great points about how there's no way to control it, and that he wishes, and he knows that it's not probably going to be the case, but he wishes everything could be uniformed, everything above board. As I mentioned, the recent talk about how taxes, it's not going to be a tax benefit if you're rich and you throw money at these players. It's probably going to slow it down a little bit. But I was just fascinated by listening to him talk, because he clearly, even if he hasn't been all up in sports lately, gets the problems that are, really prolific in the sport right now. And it was just, I was just thrilled. I was hoping that the inning would go on longer, or they would bring him back for a second inning, because I was just very captivated by what he was saying.
Dudley, is Anthony Black a can't miss as much as Joe Johnson was a can't miss? Who, out of this NBA draft coming up, I was trying to think back through the last 20, 30 years of just can't miss guys. They're going to go to that next level and have success if they stay healthy. Do you think maybe Anthony Black and Nick Smith, if he stays healthy? How do you see this shaking up on Thursday?
Well, I definitely think that, it appears that probably the bottom for Anthony is the number 8 pick with Washington. If everything stays the way it is, I think that'd be a great spot for him. Obviously, they're going to be in a rebuild with sending Bradley Beal out to Phoenix, where they apparently are printing money. But I think because of his overall basketball IQ, not to mention his athletic skills, because of his ability to, for lack of a better way to put it, he's going to be a star off the court wherever he goes, because of his personality, the way he goes about things. So, I think he can't miss. Nick, obviously, I'd love to say that the same thing. I first saw him when he was in the 8th grade. Going into the 9th grade, thought he was a great player then, but he was very small back then. Obviously, the injuries have plagued him this year. I hope he's mentally where he needs to be, because it was a rough year here, not being able to play. And then there was a segment of the fan base that, acted like idiots that went after a kid, which I'm always against. And Matt, I know you didn't have to deal with social media back then, but it's ruthless.
And it's a couple. Yeah, you're right. There's a few just knuckleheads out there. And when I look at Nick Smith, he can definitely play at the next level. It's all his need. Do you see him as like a Trae Young, who is the type of, because he was sold as, we just speaking as Bradley Beal when he was coming to Arkansas, they was kind of like, hey man, he could be like a Bradley Beal. Who does he imitate? Because I think Anthony Black's Jason Kidd, Tony Parker. Like I think he's one of those guards that's just going to be able to do everything, fill up the stat sheet, facilitate, play defense. And then Nick Smith's going to be more of a scorer, but is he more Rubio, Trae Young, or is he more like a Steph Curry?
Yeah, I'm not ready to go out there on any of those comparisons right then. What I will say is I see him more like a Malcolm Brogdon, a Kendall Caldwell Pope, somebody that can play both spots. Yeah, somebody that can play both spots, will definitely score. But I'm not sure he's going to be the focus of whatever offense he goes into. I've seen him going 17 to the Lakers, which I think would be a great fit for him. And I'm sure that my buddy Otis Kirk would enjoy that, having another Arkansas kid there to hang out with Austin Reeves and those guys. I do think he's going to be a very good player. I've always thought that. As I said, I hope mentally and physically he gets to where he needs to be. He's an outstanding young man, regardless of, some of the vitriol that was thrown at him. But I do think that both him those two, and then I think Council and Walsh obviously Walsh will both get drafted in that second round likely, or sign really good free agent deals. And I think that Walsh probably has more potential than most people think he does, because he starts with that athletic ability, and he's just very raw and kind of harnessing everything in.
Dudley, last thing in about 30 seconds, if you can't. Haven't heard anything about Grant Nelson. Not from him, not from Alabama, nothing. You know anything going on there?
Some fishy's going on there. I don't know if all the credits are not transferring and all that, but it should have been announced by now and hadn't been. And, they've had a few things going on there down at Alabama. We'll just see what plays itself out.
Okay. BetOnline is your number one source for all your championship finals info, stats, news, and scores. Get the latest odds and the latest matchup reports for this year's NBA and Stanley Cup Finals. BetOnline is your sports intel headquarters this season, as we have you covered for all your insider sports wagering needs, from baseball and hockey to MLB, UFC, and boxing. The fastest and easiest way to get all your betting info, including live betting options and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your home. Get in the action today. Head over to our website or use your mobile device to join, and be sure to use our promo code BELIEVE to receive 50% bonus on your first deposit. That's BLEAV. Bet online, where the game starts.